If you're looking for landscape tips, here's a few simple ones I can offer you. Probably the most important thing you need to notice when you're out thinking about what to plant and where to plant it is where's the sun and where's the shade. Too often people plant sun-loving plants in the shade or shade-loving plants in the sun. You really need to assess how much sun is that spot going to get during the day. For full sun plants, which are most plants that we like to plant, you need at least 6 hours. Now, if you only have 4 hours of full sun and say 4 hours of dappled sun, dappled shade, that's going to be okay. But you really want to make sure that you have enough sun for a full sun plant. If you have shade, which many of us do, especially here in New York City around tall buildings, you really want to focus on shade-tolerant plants and shade-loving plants. In this case, many of these plants actually need to be in the shade, and if you planted them in full sun, they would suffer and the leaves would burn and the plant would wither. The next thing I see amateurs doing a lot is planting a big plant or something that will become a big plant that's now very small in a small space. You need to really do your research and ask yourself honestly, how big is that plant going to eventually get? You may go to the nursery or your local box store and buy a small little plant, a small little tree that you think, oh, that fits that space perfectly. But if you read the label, and they all have labels, you're going to see that that tree will probably become 60 feet tall and 40 feet wide. And that little small space that you planted it in is suddenly going to be that giant tree pushing up against your house. So be careful and read the label, and if it's a large plant, even though it's small now, it will get large, and make sure you give it enough room to grow. You don't want to have a plant that you have to keep pruning, holding it back because it wants to get bigger than it is. Now, if you plant the plant in a space that will eventually grow into, that's probably going to leave a lot of open space around plants. Now, while you're waiting for those plants to grow in, you can fill in those open spaces with annuals, perennials, or just ground covers. You do want to make sure that you cover the soil in between the smallish immature plants, because if you leave the soil bare, something will come and grow there and it'll be weeds and you won't like it and you'll have to pull them out. So plant the plant in a space that has enough space to grow and fill in the vacant space with annuals, perennials, ground covers to prevent weeds. And those are just a few landscaping tips out of so many.